Pozrite sa na to! O polnoci!
Nie, slnko len začas
Hej.
robia. Podcast.
I remember I posted a video a few months ago talking about coincidence. And that is just funny. I find it very interesting. I'm gonna play a video. Let me know what you think.
What's a coincidence that you think about a lot?
I don't know what you would consider a lot, but I've thought about this every day for the past 2 years. In 1888, a man named Ingersoll Lockwood wrote a book called Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, where a 10-year-old boy named Barron Trump, who has a mentor named Don, who is a rich man who lives on Fifth Avenue in New York City, he and Don travel to Russia to find a portal to a magical underground world. The third book in the series is called 1900 or The Last President, where Don runs for president, gets elected, his mentor's name is Pence. There are protests and riots in the streets because he's not a politician, he's a rich man. He fixes the economy, and they mess with the election of 1900, and when he goes to plead his case, he is silenced by the Speaker of the House. There's a lot of coincidences right there. Also, I guess it's a coincidence that Ingersoll Lockwood lived in New York City at the same time as Nikola Tesla, who was working on time travel and teleportation and all sorts of craziness. When Nikola Tesla died in 1943, the FBI gave all of his unfinished research to John Trump, Donald Trump's uncle, who is the longest tenured professor at MIT. He was given, I believe, 38 trunks of information. He only gave 35 back, stating that it was all theoretical. Interesting. I guess it's also a coincidence that IngersollLockwood.com is owned by John McAfee, who tweeted that he had 31 terabytes of information on the government, and if they ever whacked him, he had a dead man. Oh, fuck. Anyway, John McAfee said that he had 31 terabytes of information on the government that was connected to a dead man switch in his Miami penthouse. Less than 12 hours after he was found dead in his cell in France, a building in Miami just mysteriously just fell down. That's a coincidence, right? I haven't even talked about Back to the Future yet, but John Trump died in 1985, which is the same year as Back to the Future came out. In Back to the Future 3, the Doc writes a letter from 1885 to 1955 to let Marty know where he is in time. Could these books be a message to somebody from 1885 into the future? As long as we're talking about Back to the Future, in the first movie, Marty shows up at the Twin Pine Mall at exactly 1:16 a.m. You turn that upside down, that's 9/11. When he comes back from the past, it is now Lone Pine Mall. Twin Towers, and now we have the One World Trade Center. Coincidence. Coincidence. Sure, it's nothing. And yeah, I've spent a little bit of time researching this coincidence, and I still got nothing. I don't know. Time travel, it's like time travel exists now. Yep.
What are they hiding in the Denver airport? Denver airport has been at the center of controversy and conspiracy ever since it opened. From the giant blue horse nicknamed Blucifer to its swastika-designed runway, it's as if the airport is trying to hide something in plain sight. Originally, it was scheduled to be opened in 1993, but it was delayed by 2 years and ran over budget by more than $2 billion. It was reported that the delay was caused by people who were in charge when they kept hiring and firing contractors, keeping the full layout of the airport a secret. Furthermore, it was reported that there were at least 6 different underground levels and 5 actual buildings sitting under the airport. However, it remains heavily guarded, and the true purpose of these facilities remain unknown. But perhaps the strangest thing is that when you enter the airport, you can find a plaque that reads the New World Airport Commission. However, if you go look it up, it doesn't exist. With all that said, many people are wondering,
Speaking of stuff in the sky, though, News Nation, they had a whistleblower by the name of Jacob Barber. He was on one of the retrieval teams for UAPs and UFOs. And they showed a video of them picking up a UAP that was literally looked like a giant egg.
And this thing was just sitting out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
How'd they know about it?
This is the crazy part that he talked about. They're called psionics, which are basically the Stargate people. Remember Stargate from CIA, where they could see where certain stuff is? So they're called psionics, and they use psychic ability to find and summon UFOs.
Dude, this is what we've been talking about.
Yeah. Right? And the guy's like, well, what do you say to people that say, like, this is the craziest? Like, I don't know about that. The guy's like, it's 100% real. And he's like, in fact, every retrieval mission that they went on, they were within like a 300-foot area where the psionics said that it was going to be at.
Dude, that's not good.
Let's slow this down to take a closer look. That's an egg-shaped UAP suspended from a 150-foot long line. We're told the craft is about 20 feet long. The egg suspended in a cradle. And look how careful the pilot is as they bring their precious cargo into land. Let's freeze frame here to look at one of the clearest images of a UAP ever taken. This is no blurry light in a distant sky. The source of the footage putting themselves at incredible risk to record this UAP retrieval. Look at how perfectly smooth the craft is. No markings at all, and no visible means of propulsion or way to see inside. Watch how it rolls, almost graceful as it hits the ground, despite being wrapped in the ropes and canvas from the cradle as it's dropped for pickup. The UAP's final destination still unknown.
Do y'all really want to see why they used the egg as disclosure for the aliens? Things are not as they appear, they're actually downright nefarious. Come with me. We'll come right back to this cosmic egg, the symbol of the brain of all evil. So let me ask you this, what does every ancient and even modern culture all have in common? You know, it's not just in DC, right? It was in Egypt, it was in Babylon, it was in Rome. It's the missing member of Osiris. But how could I tell you about Osiris without telling you about Isis, who goes by many names? Isis, Inanna, Ishtar, the deity over the egg. Why we have Easter. Did you know that she's actually called the Queen of Heaven by these cults? The Bible talks about her quite a bit as well. So who is she? Get ready for a major plot twist. She is the wife, sister, and queen of Osiris. She was Osiris's sister, then they got married, being his wife, and then they had a child named him Horus. There's that egg again. Much like Osiris's missing member, you'll find that egg in every single culture. And what it means is there's a huge battle coming. At some point in this life, you'll get that everything is the exact same as it was. Do you know that when Aleister Crowley summoned the alien lamb, that he told him also about the egg? The spiritual visitor told him it's all in the egg. This egg is always depicted with the snake wrapping around it. The cosmic egg or the Orphic egg, like these supposed cosmic visitors. Stay with me. The ancient symbol of the Orphic mystery was the serpent-entwined egg, which signified the cosmos encircled by a fiery, creative spirit. I wonder who that is. Horus is in the egg, Apollyon, Abaddon, Apollo, the Lightbringer, Satan, Lucifer, but not just him. The egg also represents the soul of the philosopher, the serpent, the mysteries. At the time of the ignition, it shall be broken and a man emerges from the embryonic state of physical existence, wherein he'd remained through the fetal period. This egg is destined in all cultures, in all mythology, and it represents all of evil breaking out of this egg. And when I say all of evil, I don't just mean spiritual, I mean physically. Something that those who hold the gates open would call a galactic battle. I'm talking about the last battle of Satan for the last time, with demons and fallen angels everywhere. Because it's now time for this egg to be opened. And that's why every indication we have leads to the same exact dates. 2027 is more than just a year. It's the year that fits every literal thing. We have the doom map Talking about 2025 and further, we have 1776 plus 250 years, perhaps maybe a little season. 2027, 2028. If we go with the old timeline, we have the 6,000th year or the 7th millennia starting in, you got it. Every single gauge of time that we have all points to the same exact time, which is why all of this is being introduced, why so many people are speaking on such grand levels, and why they say there's fleets heading to us. You, my friends, if you make it the next few years, get to see the grand climax of life ever. Pretty cool, right?
Right, we're starting off Sunday with an absolute banger. A person in a passenger airplane caught a strange saucer-shaped diamond-like object. I'm going to zoom in here for you and enhance the imagery a little bit, and let's see what we kind of got going on here. Look at this thing. It's kind of like the one that we saw yesterday of that triangular-shaped object that this person caught in a cockpit. But look at this, right? How weird is that? It looks like your typical saucer shape in nature, and this thing, again, is kind of like coming behind the plane as they're pushing forwards. I'm not sure what to make of this. This is another strange object that keeps popping up all over the place, and lots more and more pilots are reporting these sightings, and passengers of aircraft are reporting these sightings, and it's about time too, because we've had a lackluster of the amount of things that have been going on in the air. The only things that we have had is via the communications between the control tower, but now we're actually starting to see more and more footage surface. This is unbelievable, mate. Look at that thing. I mean, we've seen similar objects to this before from the ground looking up. Like, this is not something new we've been seeing. Unbelievable stuff, man. You guys let me know what you think. Wow.
Do you remember not too long ago when people all over the world were recording and posting this sight that they saw in the sky? We were originally told that this was due to SpaceX's Starship exploding and the debris going everywhere. Well, a couple nights ago, people in the suburbs of Chicago saw something very similar, only this time, we know for sure that it wasn't SpaceX or anything involved with SpaceX. People were already suspicious that SpaceX's Starship was the sole reason that something this grand happened, but now, after what was seen a few nights ago in Chicago, people are starting to come up with theories that whatever's going on with this situation is completely different than what we were told. From a wide range of ideas and theories, some theorize that these are non-human entities entering our atmosphere, possibly fallen angels or a connection to the Galactic Federation, while others theorize that this is indeed debris from man-made devices, but we're not being told the real reason why these devices exploded. According to that second theory, SpaceX's Starship didn't explode because of a simple malfunction, but instead because it hit something in the upper atmosphere, many people believing that what it hit was the firmament.
In the Grand Canyon, I was researching if the ancient Egyptians were in the North Rim. There's a mountain there called Mount Isis that the government named Mount Isis. I didn't even know that you weren't allowed to fly through the Grand Canyon. After my flight was about 2 hours. And after my flight, I landed and there was a park ranger that threatened me. I pointed to the parking lot, the North Rim parking lot. I said, there's no signs anywhere that says you can't fly paramotor. I flew for about 2 hours. My main area was Mount Isis. If you zoom into Mount Isis, you can see it kind of has the shape of a temple. Even it looks like it has a doorway with a hieroglyph of a duck on the side of it.
Really?
You can actually see a door, a square door. About 3 miles back towards the rim, there is a sphere that sticks up.
Yeah.
And it has a bird head on top of it. It's carved. It's really ornate. And then it has like the wings fast back, and it looks like someone put charcoal in grooves of the wings to show detail of the wings. And it's about the size of 6 vehicles. It's big, and you can see it from a distance. It looks like it was created to where if the water level was higher in the Grand Canyon and ships were going through, it would show, the strength and power of the Egyptians. It looks like a sphinx. There does appear to be a sphinx on this temple. There are other carvings, and they look like someone had shot at them, maybe with a helicopter or something. Yeah, there was definitely bullet holes in a lot of the temple surrounding. About 200 feet down, there's carvings of pharaohs There's carvings of cats. You know, you would have to be about 200 yards back to actually really get a good view of what you're looking at. I don't know who they would be for. Maybe ancient aliens or something, maybe. You know, we're talking 20,000 years ago. I don't think the water level would be high enough to even see these carvings. And it makes me wonder who they were for and who put them there. It would have to be someone in like a flying machine, most likely. I flew right next to him. I saw a leg sticking out. I flew right over a leg, and then I saw another leg. There's one that looks like a sphinx of a woman, and you can see the headdress, and then there's black stripes on the headdress that goes up, and the eyes are green, and it's beautiful. It was mostly concentrated around Mount Isis area. There appear to be other smaller temples like this. I don't know if you can see this picture right here. This is a temple I discovered in Arizona. You can see like windows down the side and looks like rails, a lot of things like that in the Grand Canyon. But Mount Isis seemed to be the center point. And you can see a doorway up high, and on the other side, real low, you see these two pillars kind of like they had fallen in, and another doorway that goes inside. And then on the backside of Mount Isis, it's really long, and there's doorways and windows. But the doorways appear to be about 20 feet tall. Like in Egypt, you'll see statues in the upright sitting position, and they look like pharaohs. They're all along the side of Mount Isis. And you can actually zoom in. If you know how to use Google Earth, you can zoom in, tilt Google Earth a little bit, and you can actually see them. Everything I suspected was real. I've lived in Alaska. I heard about the Blue Pyramid in Alaska. I've flown all over Alaska, and I've seen some amazing things there that kind of fall in line with the Egyptians. I don't know what ancient civilizations were up there though, but I found some really neat things up there. But that made me believe that the Egyptians started in the Grand Canyons. I've seen helmets, swords, carvings. I actually found a Spanish conquistador helmet, a breastplate, and a sword, and I donated it to the Lost Dutchman Museum in Apache Junction. I found a giant skull with a helmet, and it's sitting up on a rock right next to the doorway. The helmet has an eagle on top of it. There's like a little post, and then an eagle with its wings spread apart.
Why do you think so many people are starting to remember their time in the gifted and talented education programs? If you don't already know, there was something called the GATE program that many people were in as children, and there are a lot of us who are starting to wake up to the fact that this program was much weirder than we thought. You might not even remember it right now until you are shown images like these. I think that there are a few reasons behind this, and realistically, it's probably a combination of all of them, and the last one being very conspiratorial, so if you don't like that kind of stuff, get on out of here before the end of the video. The most obvious one is what we're doing right now. Social media has connected us more than we've ever been connected before in human history, and it allows random people like me to talk to random people like you and share our stories, compare notes, and that's where we are realizing that things are not adding up. This doesn't make sense, even if just evidenced by the fact that so many of us have little to no memories of the program, and by hearing someone else speak about it, it jogs your memory and you realize, oh no, I was in that. The second thing that I find super interesting is just how many of us went through this program and then later in life decided to explore things like meditation, hypnosis, and plant medicines. And some people theorize that this was part of our conditioning that we went through as kids, and that is why we go on to do it again, because it feels like almost home to us, which could be true. But I personally think that on some subconscious level, we all have this need to connect our memories. We feel fragmented on some level, and that is why we seek out these other modalities to try and put all the pieces back together as a whole. And through this exploration, we are able to recall these memories that have been buried deep. Now, the conspiracy theory that I love to think about is they're deliberately erasing our memories from the program. Some people think that it maybe was the hypnotherapy that they gave us in our hearing tests. Other people think that it's due to the little pink drink that they gave us in those paper cups. That was a fluoride dental treatment. Maybe it was both. And I can't help but wonder if whatever they did to erase our memories had an expiration date, and it is wearing off now. And that is why so many of us are waking up to the oddities of our childhood and the fact that the gifted and talented programs were not what they were sold to us as. But I'm willing to entertain all sorts of crazy conspiracy theories, so if you think it was something even weirder than what I just said, I'd love to hear about it.
The significance of UFOs is multiple parts, but number one, it's not what you think it is. It's not coming from other planets. The evidence doesn't suggest that.
Interdimensional.
Yes. And the reason is because time is parallel. It's not linear. Or it's not like we start here and go forward in time. Time is side by side, which means everything in the past and the future is existing in this moment, but within different frequencies. So a civilization that's at the end of their technological cycle could build a submarine that changes its voltage and materializes in that same location, just into our timeline. And then fucking, it's crazy.
That was well articulated. I like that.
Have you ever had any like glitches in the Matrix where like
yes,
time sped up for you, or like I've had that a couple times.
Weird things. So there's a consciousness aspect to this. Like you have to think of like consciousness is like, it's like the mind of God, you know. It's not a dude in a toga with a crown of thorns making Jupiter, you know. It's like everything you see is one band of frequencies. The highest frequency is light, unified mind. The lowest frequency would be blackness, absence of love, absence of whatever. And physical matter is somewhere right in the middle, right? So you have the ability to tune up higher or tune down lower, and behavior and all these things and time, and it all fucking comes together. But what it means also is that your brain is what's called a transducer. You're an antenna.